Did anyone else have to rewatch that opening song like 3 to 4 times before they even continued with the episode this week? That opening song, oh my, that was so fucking good. I love the visuals and that final scene in that opening song. When you see the character, he's reaching up and all that, and you see this light, and you see how it looks like his family that has died. And then all of a sudden, the image of his family changes into Ocarina, and then I'm like, yo, oh my god, like that was such a good opening song. To the visuals, to the message behind it, it keeps true to what the first opening did when it came to its themes and stuff. So just that opening song from March Comes In Like a Lion, the second opening, is so good. Big fan of that opening. But I will say this, however, disregarding the opening song, the ending song is hell of a lot better. Hell of a lot better. Like, I'm going to say right now, I may have loved this new opening song, but that ending song is my personal preference, way better than the original opening song, like, from the first half of, March Comes In Like a Lion, and also better than the new one, and even better than the last ending song as well. That ending song is so freaking good. If you have not heard that ending song, stop what you're doing and listen to it. It is such a good opening song for March Comes In Like a Lion. I love the tune to it. So with that being said, let's talk about what this episode was about. So, this was a very depressing episode in a way. It had some happier moments, but it was a very depressing episode because the main distinct theme about this was that the Kotatsu. And if you get under something very warm, or if you're surrounded by warmth and you leave that warmth, the cold hits you like a truck. Let's put this in perspective, okay? Let's say you're around, you have a heating blanket around you for this winter. Right now, as soon as I'm done with this video, I'm actually going to wrap myself up in a heating blanket. You wrap yourself up and all that, and you try to stay warm. And all of a sudden, you hear something go off like an alarm or a clock or whatever going off like way behind you, and you realize if you get out of your blanket, it's going to be really fucking cold. So you have to undo the blanket and all that around you, or whatever you have keeping you warm. You got to get out of this, and you got to go turn off that alarm. Walk across your room, whatever, and turn off that alarm. That's going to make you cold. You're going to be like, holy crap, that's cold, and you're going to have to jump back into the blanket to try to stay warm. It's very agonizing. You're reminded with how cold it is around you. Even though you know it's cold, you're reminded of how deadly that cold is and how much it really hurts to just leave the warmth. And this is kind of what's happening to our main character. How he is surrounded by so much warmth and love while he's at the sister's house that when he leaves that house, he's reminded of how depressing his life really is and what has happened and how lonely he is. When the episode starts off and he's thinking like, has that air conditioner always been that loud? Has that clock always been that loud? And you just hear the ticking sound of the clock and you hear the air conditioner and all of that. It represents loneliness and how he wasn't really aware of his surroundings because of how depressed he was. And when he was so used to all the noise that he was hearing when he was over at their house, and when he finally comes back and it's so quiet, he now understands all these different sounds were always around him. He just didn't realize it because, he just grew accustomed to it. And now being surrounded by so many people that, really care about him, and now being gone from them, it just strikes him really hard. He's like, I'm all alone. No one is here. I'm by myself in this cold, this, wind and all that, and he needs to figure out a way to kind of try to keep warm. And so when he says, I want to get up, I want to keep walking, it's kind of in a way he's trying to say, I need to keep my mind off of things. If I continue to stay here, I'll become even more depressed, and I'll become even worse than I already was. I need to keep my mind working, thinking on what I need to do, for instance, shogi, instead of focusing on all these depressing matters that's going on around me. So I love that little detail throughout the start of this episode, and that's like the main theme of the episode, actually. How the Kotatsu, it's so warm when you leave it, it's very cold, and it just strikes you in the bone because of how cold it is around you. It represents loneliness, and I like the direction that, the plot is going in this episode. It's focusing on these themes of how he's starting to realize, like, what he needs to do. He needs to continue to try to open up. He realizes what he's lacking in his life, and he realizes that, he can't just be by himself for the rest of his life. He needs to have people around him. He needs family. He needs warmth. and that's what he's realizing he's starting to love. And I mean, when you see at the end of the episode, when he states like, hey, I can't stay here, I gotta go focus on Shogi, it's kind of like him stating like, even though I want to be in this warmth, I can't. I need to focus. I need to focus on this, keep my attention to detail, because if I relax too much, I'll be reminded of how painful it is once I finally leave this house. And so at the end of the episode, when he's like, I'm determined to win in my shogi match and all that, it's like, I don't want to get too close to this warmth right now, because it'll make me feel depressed when I finally leave. So he's trying to figure out his emotions right now. He has a lot of complicated emotions surrounding him because of how he's getting shown so much love by the people around him, and he doesn't really know how to react to that. So March comes in like a lion. The first episode of 2017, definitely a powerful episode, definitely an emotional episode, a little bit of, information about, who hit him in the past because of his sister, or his, stepsister. We found out now what happened to him and all that, and how this dude is a very crusty asshole, especially saying what he said to our main character in the middle of this episode. Just, I can't wait to see, him go up against this man and beat the hell out of him in shogi. I just cannot wait to fucking see that, because that man has it coming. For doing what he did, he definitely deserves that. So, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I mean, how do you all feel about the continuation of March Comes In Like a Lion? How do you feel about, this first episode in 2017 about the series? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Please let me know your honest thoughts in the comments below. I love you all so much. Please be safe. Chibi out.